I am fired up to talk to this guy. I mean, he was a talk around my house last night. Colin, good morning, young man. You're a student. What grade are you in? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Am I good audio-wise?
You're all
You're
good.
good, Colin.
And you got
All
that
right.
good haircut going, man. I want to borrow some of that hair, brother.
Thank you. So I am a freshman going to be a sophomore at LaSalle. I'm 15, and it was my first time volunteering for the VFW golf outing.
All right, so I'm going to expand on this a little bit further. Are you a golfer at LaSalle?
Yes, I am a golfer at LaSalle. I play varsity in the fall with my brother, who is graduating. Who graduated.
And tell me about your game. I mean, are you a big hitter? What's normally your strengths and weaknesses as a golfer, high school golfer?
So one thing that's funny that my golf coach kind of gave me was that I hit the ball, my driver, exactly 200, not 199, not 201, just exactly 200 right down the fairway. So accuracy has been a big part of my strong suit. Putting and chipping probably could be, a little bit increased. I think averaged, last year at an 89. I'm trying to bring that down to like an 85, 84.
Solid.
So
okay.
That's
all right.
That's
okay.
me.
All right. So now let's fast forward. You're a part of this charity event at a VFW, right? Raising money for a VFW. Is that what it was for?
Yes. It was for veterans of the foreign wars.
Yes.
And this money, I think, got raised to support veterans that obviously deal with homelessness, or struggling issues, PTSD, and all of that.
Well, there are a lot of them out there, and our thoughts and prayers are with all of them and who have served this country and continue to serve this country. So obviously, you've got a nice side of you wanting to give back. They know you're a golfer. They approach you and they say, all right, Colin, we want you to do what? What was the deal?
So, is like the head or like the golfers on the court or the veterans on the court?
Well, I mean, when they were putting this thing together, and then you were a guy, I'm assuming for a second here, where you were just at that hole all day long, right? And people could come there and they would have a decision to have you do what?
So before the event, you could pay an $80 bundle, which was like 20 per person per group. And if you had that bundle, I think they got some little perks on like maybe mulligans, and 3 of the 4 par 4s, each person got to hit a ball, or each LaSalle golfer got to hit a ball per person on 3 of the 4 par 3s. So that was our job. And they come up, all right, they come to me and be like, do you want to hit before, after? And they chose. And many a times I hit before, so I'd hit 4 shots before them, then they'd hit their 4 shots, and they'd get to choose which ball they wanted out of that. So they had 8 golf balls to choose from on the green or around or whatever.
Okay. All right. So how many swings, do you have any idea how many times you hit this shot? It was 42 yards? Is that what I read?
It was 145 or
okay, 145. Okay. All right. And now how many times did you attempt this shot?
So it was a sold-out outing, so that means there was 36 foursomes. I think I hit around 32 of them, so 32 times 4 is 128 shots.
Okay. All right. Well, look, you could put Rory McIlroy up there for 128 shots, okay? You could put Tiger Woods up there for 120. You could put Jack Nicklaus up there in his heyday, 128 shots. And, I mean, it's billions to one that any of those guys could do what you did. And for those who don't know, 3 times you swing the club right in the hole in one. So, walk me through each of those. So the first group comes up. It's how many groups in now? You've had a chance. How many swings at this point?
So early morning swings in the day. I was the first group came up. The very first they didn't pay for anything, so they were kind of going.
The cheap guys. You just let them go and just say get the hell out and move on. Okay, so go ahead.
So then because the second group on that hole were talking to me, and they were really friendly, and it was a great conversation. And I had this little draw going at the start, so I think I put around 2 on the green for them to close. But those guys at the end, they were our start were really fun, and it was a great welcome to the morning. So I'm like, okay, I put one. I think they had a good birdie putt, so I felt good there. And then the funny thing is that first group, they knew the group behind them, and they told me to put a ball in the woods on purpose. So I grabbed the 7-iron. I was using a 48 degree to hit on the green and launched it over the green. I felt a little bad though, because then my next 3 shots, I couldn't put one on the green, so they ended up making it far. I felt bad though, and then the third group comes up, and this is the one I put it in for. And I'm like, all right, guys, I'm gonna aim a little right to see if I can get this draw to play on the green. And I think 2 or 3 shots in, I put this draw on the right side of the green, and it kind of slopes in right towards the hole. And it was just, throwing the club and high fives and hugs. And these guys were like, I've never seen one. And it was just a spectacular moment. And it just made me feel good just to see everybody's happy faces and the reactions.
So had you ever had a hole-in-one before?
No, I actually had not. The closest I had was a hole out for eagle in the fall at Heatherwood. That was like 128 yards. So that was my closest one.
Okay, all right. So that's the first one. All right. So now all of a sudden you're like, man, does it get any better than this? And you still got a full day ahead because, as you said, almost 40 groups coming through there. So how long now? Take us to how long you had to wait, and then tell us about the second one.
So I think the second one was probably closer to the first and the third. So my brother told me before the round it was going to be like all day. This is going to be a nice fun, just keep trying to get the hole-in-one challenge the whole day. And I was ready. So, get one off the start. I was like, okay. I'm like, how do I top that? I go into the second shot, I think it might have been the 4th, 5th, or 6th group around there. So not too many later. And many of these groups are approaching me like just high-fiving, congratulating. And then the second
word's gone all around the course that you've drained one already. Okay, so now the expectations are climbing, right?
So as I was told, like it was like fire around the course. It just traveled and traveled. So I'm like, oh boy. And many groups, it was funny, towards the end were approaching me like, all right, you got one more left in you? And I was like, I'll try, or I'll put one as close as I can. But the second time I put one in, it was it definitely like, what is this? Like, what are the odds? Or how am I doing this? Or I knew one of the people in there was Jeff Sabers. He graduated from LaSalle, and he knew my mom and dad. So their group probably had the best, foursome reaction in terms of pushing me around or celebrating or whatever. But that was probably one of my favorite reactions, and it felt good just to know these guys on this personally at a level, and that's something we could celebrate and bond over.
I don't know how backed up. We know how some of those things can be and backed up, but I mean, when you have the first one, and look, the group comes up, you're all high-fiving after the first one. They off they go, right? And they're going up to the green, and obviously I don't think anybody's picking one that you didn't drain to be their shot. So, okay, they got an ace there. So I imagine you had to have, maybe you didn't, I don't know. You had to have a minute there where you're just going, I can't believe that just happened. Okay, so and then it happens again, right? I mean, what are you thinking there? Did you have a minute or two by yourself, or were people at that point just racing over to the hole to, like, give you high fives and buy you a beer, even though you're only 14? I'd have bought you a beer, but I'm not cheap. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the hole I'm going to see what the hole in front of mine was doing. Maybe they just skipped the hole and put a birdie on the scorecard or something. Right. But going down, obviously, there was someone working by the hole, and I obviously walked down there. I got drove down there because I only had like 15 golf balls that I just kept re-getting. And it wasn't I think I had the golf balls in my bag. somewhere. 3 of them stored, and they were like pinnacles, so they weren't the best, but they still obviously worked. Um, so I kept going down there every once in a while, and I think after just getting pictures with the groups, it was kind of getting a little backed up. So I was trying to rush to try and get back up there, and many guys came down were like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, slow down there. Let me just drive you back up real quick. We don't want to use your energy." So
That's funny.
obviously, I thanked them, and I think the third one was probably it had like I think 10 people watching it around that time. So a little backstory on that one was that the person working the pro shop, I think Aston Oaks really doesn't have an owner that runs it or a pro, but they have a few guys that kind of sort it. So he was kind of working. He was like, "Here are the first one." He was like, "Oh, okay, that's really cool." The second one, I don't believe it. So he gets in a cart, and apparently he drives all the way back out. And this whole 6 is like, it's probably the farthest away. You have to drive the farthest away. It's like a 3-4 minute drive from the clubhouse. So he comes out, and he's like congratulating me. He parks it right next to me. He's like, "All right, show me what you got." And the first shot of this group, because this one of the people who drove me down and like fixed the divots I was making and got all the golf balls. He was really supportive. So I went down there or back up on the tee, and he was like, "Show me what you got." And I'm like, "Oh, a lot of pressure. I have a lot of people watching." And the first shot, I put it under an AC unit of a house so far right. It was like, and that was the first shot all day where I'm like, that was downright terrible.
Right.
So I was a little nervous after that, and I'm like, "Oh boy, I'm sorry guys, I gotta dial it back in here." The second shot, I pull it and it misses the green. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I need to put something close for these people." And then the third one, just run it right down that right slope, and it goes in. And he was on the call.
You have got to be kidding me.
I know. He was also, another thing was he was on a call with one of the other people that runs it. So he was just telling the pro, everyone was getting high fives and happy. And it was the fact that, the dude came out and witnessed one was very amazing. And all these people watching. I think the group behind us was watching well. So I had like 10 people. And it was, at that point, I'm like, this is just so much. And I just can't believe it.
I mean, it's just, has anybody, we were trying to figure, I work with some guys that are basically degenerates from a gambling standpoint. And I'm sorry that you had to even touch base or rub elbows with these guys, even in a phone conversation here.
Oh, it was funny listening to them.
Well, but no, let me ask you this. Has anybody said to you that they really think the odds of this would be what?
I think it was, on a normal hole in one, it's just like obviously tens of thousands and then millions. I mean, you really can't make a number, but it just, just saying that you have wind coming at you, the ball defected, spin, 10,000 blades of grass on the green. It could take a hop on the green. How fast it's coming. I mean, there's so many things that have to be worked out in perfect numbers for it to go in. So, you could put a shot that it's projected to go in the hole every time, but, something could roll this way, get this bounce. I mean, you can't really predict it. It's just sometimes dumb luck. You hit so many down there and you have a chance for it to go in. So.
Well, obviously, you this is kind of a life-changing kind of thing. I mean, you're getting. I mean, just starting with the fact that you're off the bench, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you start with that, but then everything else is set. But what's the coolest interview or coolest thing you've done so far about this whole thing, or coolest part of all of it?
So the coolest part, I think, all of it was going back in the clubhouse after. Because they were serving dinner for all the veterans, amazing veterans out there that came to play in this. So I came back in originally, and then my brother, he was 2 holes behind me, and he's a little older, and he's a little, I guess, jealous, and he was getting a bunch of crap, I think, for hearing it. And I heard at the end he drove back up to hole 6 or 2 holes later just to hit a few shots. He was telling me how close he was. So going back in the clubhouse, I think the first two tables, they were kind of started clapping, and then before you know it, the rest, everyone's standing and applauding, and it was something that I don't know if I really, I guess, deserved, but it was something that I enjoyed, and it was something that visually you could remember for a long time. And it was kind of in my opinion, it's a feel good, and all that. So.
Dude, we are really, really happy for you, and we thank you for your time today. Fellas, you want to say anything to our resident celebrity here today?
Paul?
No, I just want to say congratulations because that's awesome. And when I saw it on the news the other night, Colin, I was sitting there and I thought maybe I had heard the story wrong. And I just couldn't figure out why this story wasn't all over the place. And I said, Thom, we got to get this guy on. So appreciate you joining the show, Thom, Colin. Appreciate you joining the show. I know everybody here in the YouTube chat has taken you on as a member of our show. So thanks so much.
Keep that line open. Me, Thom, and Paul might need you for a scramble team sometime
that's exactly
soon.
Right.
So
that's exactly
need
right.
you soon, Colin.
Yeah.
Colin,
thank you.
Colin, you get him back here real quick.
I got him.
Colin, I mean, from now on, when you show up, you got 3 years left of high school golf.
Yeah, I got.
I mean, are you kidding me? You're going to show up, and it's like Tiger showing up.
Yeah, I don't know how much time I have left, but if I could say one little more story.
Sure.
So, they had me stick around for the awards because there was 3 closest to the pins, and obviously I had it wrong at this hole. I actually got to choose to hit for someone, and that shot kind of counts towards theirs, but I forgot to do that. So the closest to the pin was simply just the veterans hitting. So I think one lady got it down there really close, but when they did the awards, 2 more of they called me up for the award, which I was happy about, and they clapped again. And the people I hit it in for, they each got like $40, so like 2 groups got $40, and they ended up slipping it in my pocket later on. So that was pretty cool.
That's really cool.
And then they called my brother up if he had some words for me, any words. So he was talking. He was like, "Well, I'm gonna have to get Mr. Bob Abrams, who ran who kind of helps us golf, our LaSalle players get into it. He's like, well, I'm gonna have to get out here for my 5th year eligibility from UC, and go back to hole 6 and see if I can do what he did. He's going to go out the day before and pay the greenskeeper to put it in the exact same spot." So that was a little funny message that he had. And it was a real thank to all the veterans that were there just to support it and the great causes going towards.
Well,
And,
Colin, I
yeah,
tell you, you're a testament to your family and the kind of young man that they have raised. Not only just to the way you handle yourself and the way you speak, but understanding how important it is to get out there and help others, especially those that have served our country. So, Colin, a big salute from us to you, my man. We can't thank you enough. Congratulations.
Thank you. And just one last comment. Sorry, guys, but
Sure.
it was, just kind of looking back at it, I was talking to my mom yesterday. I was driving home from a baseball game, and it was one of those things like, yes, the 3 hole-in-ones is great, and it's all great and all, but when we were watching the news, the first time it actually aired on the Channel 5 was 11:27 at night. So that was after the Reds game, so we were staying up and watching it all like 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock during the news. It was kind of thing where you saw some good things, saw some Reds, but with the news, you obviously see a lot of, negative things and stuff that, kind of hurts to see. And it was more of just kind of looking at it, it's kind of in my opinion, a feel-good story where, something good happened, and it's just nice to see that, some good things can happen in a world where there's so much more negativity than positivity. So
Amen to
that's
that.
just one of my last things that I had to say.
Well, I'm glad you did. Colin, thanks so much for your time, man. All the best this summer. Enjoy your summer.
Yeah.
All right. See you, buddy.
Can't wait to go back and play next year.
Absolutely. They can't wait to have you back next year.
All right.
Thank you guys so
Colin?
much.
You're welcome.